Hey everybody, it's Dak here from the Ed Boys, and today's video is going to be about making money with crafting. This is part of a few videos that I'll be doing for moneymakers that'll include skilling, AFK, and even some combat related stuff. Crafting is a buyable 99, which means generally all you need is a ton of money and then you can just get yourself a cape. It won't take very much time. It is more efficient to buy this fast XP and then make up for the spent cash and the hours saved, but that's not the only way that you can go about it. You can make some profit while training crafting. I don't really suggest using slower but profitable methods to stretch all the way to 99, but for lower level requirements it can save you some money, especially if you just haven't had the chance to save up any money yet. Also, when you're trading for 99, you can use the money from the profitable methods to then buy some faster XP and kind of combine the two. Either way, the point of this video is to feature the money-making methods that'll get you crafting XP. I've got about 6, maybe 7 on the list. I'm going to start with one of the easiest ones, bowstrings. Bowstrings have a very simple 10 crafting requirement, and you only need flax to make bowstring, which is insanely cheap. So a starting cash pool of maybe 300 coins is going to be needed. Both of these things can be achieved within less than an hour of playing old school RuneScape though. In fact, I believe this was the first moneymaker that I used in my original road to 100 mil. The most common place to string flax is at the Lumbridge Castle. There's a spinning wheel on the second floor, and a bank just one floor above it for some really quick bank trips. I normally expect about 20k crafting XP per hour, which is just over 1300 bowstrings. Since flax is about 1 coin a piece, maybe 2 coins, 3 coins sometimes, you can basically just multiply the price of bowstrings by 1300 to get an estimate on how much more money you're going to make. In this case, when I'm making the video, bowstrings are about 103 coins a piece, and that's going to make you a little over 130k GP an hour. It's pretty weak overall, but again, you only need 10 crafting to do this. If you've completed the Kandarin medium diaries, then using the spinning wheel in the Seers village will spin your flax 33% faster, or in other words, 1 tick per flax. If you've also completed the hard Kandarin diaries, you can change the location of your Camelot teleport to be right in front of the Seers village bank. You'll need to take up an inventory space for some law runes, and then preferably just wield a staff of air to take up only 1 inventory space, but overall you can spin more flax this way and get up around 27k XP an hour, spinning about 1800 flax. That's another 50k cash an hour, though at this point, if you've gotten your Kandarin hard diaries done, you're probably not looking to make that many more bowstrings. A more mid-level requirement method is snakeskin armor. Snakeskin is very cheap to purchase, and all of the armor that you make from it has very low requirements overall. You're not going to see major XP from this method, but it's pretty useful for low to mid levels. The lowest requirement for this gear is 45 crafting for the boots. They're also generally the best profit per snakeskin, the second best being snakeskin bodies, which requires 53 crafting. The problem with snakeskin bodies is that they take 15 snakeskin per body, so you need to rebank after each one, which really isn't worth doing. You can get like 36k XP an hour from the boots, which is much better than bowstrings. This is 1200 boots per hour, and at the moment you profit 180 coins per boot, so you're going to profit over 215k GP an hour here. It's not nearly as AFK as bowstrings, which could turn some people off, but once you hit 45 crafting, this is definitely an upgrade from bowstrings. Making birdhouses has the potential to profit a little bit. To make a birdhouse, you need logs and a clockwork. 1 clockwork per birdhouse is needed, and the crafting requirement depends on which type of log you decide to use. A clockwork currently costs about 750 coins a piece. They aren't sold insanely often, so this can be the worst part about making birdhouses, but the buy limit is 11k per 4 hours, so you could potentially leave it overnight to buy if you were having trouble. Not every type of house makes a profit, but in general, logs have a pretty weak price tag, where birdhouses have a little more demand for them. For the majority of the houses, you won't see more than 100 coin profit per house. At the time of making this video though, both yew and teak houses are about 150 coin profit. Yew logs do require a higher crafting level to make, but yew birdhouses are pretty commonly used, so you might find that selling the birdhouses back will be a lot faster. In general, selling birdhouses can be kind of slow since you can only buy 250 every 4 hours, so you need a few different people buying at once to sell them quickly. But you can make about 1750 birdhouses an hour, which would be 80k XP when you're doing yew birdhouses. At the moment, with a profit ranging from 100 to 150 coins per birdhouse, you're looking at like 175k plus GP an hour. You're not always going to make more money here than you did at bowstrings, but the XP rates are always going to be a lot better, so for higher levels, this is a much better option. Crafting jewelry has been a fairly common moneymaker for some time now. I'm going to start with unstrung gold amulets. Gold amulets only require 8 crafting to make, and to make them you need to use a gold bar on a furnace while you have an amulet mold in your inventory. Gold bars are very cheap, so you don't need a lot of money to get started. Not quite as small of a cash stack as bowstrings, but They're also available for free-to-play. Lots of free-to-play folks are looking to buy a bond, and this is a pretty common way to at least get your cash stack going. Generally, your best options for a furnace near a bank is the Edgeville furnace, which also is available for free-to-play members. There are tons of jewelry options when it comes to money making, and constantly checking which piece of jewelry makes the most profit but still gets good XP rates can be a bit of a pain in the ass. Lucky for us, there are some tools out there to help out. There's a few profit calculators, and I have linked the Wiki's calc in the description. The numbers on this table are updated often, as opposed to the exact numbers that I could give you during this video, which will be out of date in a week or two. In general, I found that bracelets are the most consistent GP to XP rates, though rings are a pretty close second. Also, silver jewelry tends to have the potential to make the most money with a little bit more risk since they do have kind of rocky prices. When you make gold jewelry, you can make up to $16.50 an hour since you can just bring 27 gold bars per trip. But if you're making jewelry that has a gem in it, then you're more likely to get more like 1,300 pieces of jewelry an hour. So for gold amulets, you get 45 to 50k XP an hour at the moment and profit about 100k, which is pretty solid for free to play. Like I said, it costs a little more to get started than bowstrings, but if you did a few runs of bowstrings, you could afford a solid chunk of gold bars and have at it. Something like ruby bracelets can get you a little over 100k per hour, and at the moment, you profit nearly 250k an hour. It's not as AFK to do jewelry with a gem since you do have to bank more, but there's a lot of potential to profit and you can still get some good XP rates. Sometimes it can be difficult to stock up on a lot of gems since they are expensive, so that's why it's easier to start with a lot of gold in the first place. My overall note leads me back to telling you to do some more research even though you're already on my video. I'd rather some of you be upset that I don't straight up tell you which piece of jewelry you have to make than tell you a piece of jewelry that happens to be terrible profit at the time you watch. Again, I left a link to the Wiki's page on jewelry profits, so I hope that and all the information that I've given you here is enough to send you on your way. Amethyst ammo is a little fickle when it comes to how much money you can make, and you can definitely benefit heavily by selling and buying things overnight to get better price margins. Each piece of amethyst makes 15 bolt tips or arrow tips. More often than not, you're going to make more money from the arrow tips since they cost a little bit more, and you only make 5 javelin heads per ore, plus nobody really buys them, so those are generally the worst profit. You need 83 crafting for bolt tips and 85 for arrow tips. The most consistent part about the price of amethyst is how close the ratio is for amethyst ore to amethyst ammo. When you make money, it's never a lot of money, and when you lose money, it's also pretty close to breaking even. My favorite part about them is the solid AFK factor. A full envy of ores is slow enough to give you some time to do other things if you need AFK, and you still get good XP rates at the overall price of basically breaking even. I do think it's important to pay attention to prices for all of your money-making endeavors instead of just blindly buying and selling things, but with amethyst arrows, your overall GP to XP can be significantly better if you're buying ores when the ores and ammo are going up in price. In general, this means that you can sell off your ammo when it's gone up by a few coins a piece. Even 3 coins per arrow tip would mean 45 GP per ore. You can cut around 2,750 amethysts an hour, which adds up to 165k XP per hour, which is a really good ratio even if you're losing a little money at this point. The bigger problem is the fact that amethyst costs a lot of money, so if you're low on cash overall, it's going to be very difficult to buy a lot of amethyst and stock up on it. These next couple of methods are kind of bonus shoutouts, I guess, since they're a little weird to consider them regular crafting training methods. First of all, we have Zeya Runecrafting. At 77 Runecrafting, you can make blood runes, which has an altar located on the northern section of Zeya, the dark altar in the Archaeus house. You also need 38 mining and crafting to do Zeya Runecrafting, plus 100% favor in the Archaeus house. I also do not suggest doing this with lower than 73 agility for a very important shortcut. Zeya Runecrafting requires you to mine and craft dark essence blocks before turning them into blood runes. This adds up to very little crafting and mining XP per hour. If you do Zeya Runecrafting to 99, you're going to get a little over 1 mil crafting XP on the way there without really having to do any crafting, but you will be profiting the whole time too. So it's hard to call this an actual crafting method. If you needed some crafting levels now, this is not the best way to go about it, but you indeed get crafting XP while profiting while you're doing Zeya Runecrafting. Lastly, I've got Zaf's Superior Staff Shop. If you've completed at least the Easy Varrock Diaries, you can buy battle staves from Zaf, who's located on the west side of Varrock Square. He sells staves for very cheap, but only a few staves a day. The higher tier Varrock Diary you do, the more you can buy. The only part of this method that profits here is buying the staves, though. He sells them for way cheaper than a normal GE price. This means technically that if you wanted the most profit, you just sell the battle staves right after buying them from him. Attaching an orb to them is going to cost you a little money because it won't make it more valuable than what the orb cost you in general. But if you do attach orbs to them for crafting XP, they're going to sell for more than the 7k a piece, plus plus the price of an orb. So this means you're overall still profiting and getting crafting XP. Since you would make more money by just selling the stabs, you're technically just getting cheaper crafting XP by doing this, but it only takes a few minutes out of each day to save a bunch of money, so it's really not that bad. So for my final overall note, I do want to go back to the point that it's generally more efficient to use some of those more expensive, faster methods and then save a bunch of hours and go do a really solid moneymaker with those saved hours to make up for the money you spent. But if you don't have a lot of solid moneymakers to use at the moment and you need some crafting levels, these could help you out with getting those crafting levels and still not breaking your bank at least, or even making some solid profit. I believe that's everything I wanted to talk about when it came to making money with crafting, everybody. I do hope you enjoyed or got some useful information, and if you did, be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more content. I do stream on Twitch, I'm on Twitter, and I have a Discord if you want to follow those. The links are in the description. Thanks again for watching, everybody. I do hope you enjoyed, and best of luck with your grind.